Alrighty, hello everybody, and welcome back. Welcome back. We are on episode 12. Episode 12. So kind of slowing down a little bit here. There's just been a little more now that the thinking, more thinking than like just being able to create on the fly. So what I needed to do is I added a few more things to the game, but I added resistances now. So when the player spawns in. This is all the things that they have now that we have to save and keep track of. It's insane. So basically, what this does is the player is going to have those four values. They're going to resist damage. They're going to resist elemental damage, and they're going to have a bonus to regen, and they're going to have a bonus to their stats. So I thought this is just going to be an easy way to track. So in the shield, we are going to do the healing, and the shield is going to show, excuse me, sorry, I'm just burping there. The shield is going to show the damage, well, the elemental damage and whatever. In the wreath, this is where we're going to have the insert object, excuse me, a number value. And this is going to be, is it regen? Yes. However you say that. So it's going to be this name. All right. And then in the cape, we need to insert object, a number value. And this can be called, well, it doesn't matter what it's called, but we can just call it boost now. It can be called anything you want. Alright. So now what happens is chest starter armor, head starter armor. Okay, so this is going to be called shield starter. And this is going to be called hat starter. And this is going to be called cape starter. That is really easy. Yes, so we'll have to modify the code a little bit. Just cape starter. So let's close all these down. And this will have to be hat starter. Right, and then this will be whatever you call these items. This is all we're doing, whatever you're going to call these items. So a shield starter, same thing, have to change it here to shield starter. This is how we're going to find them, right, is by their name. Alright, so now let's just check to make sure I've done the code correctly. Does not appear to be the case. Alright, so I have to go through all those three again. And I have to change this to shield. Shield starter. I'm not going to worry about the variable there, the chest armor variable, because it's just for this function. It doesn't matter about the name, but we need to change the name in the code. Hat. And this one here is cape. Alright, there we go. Excellent. So we still have all that stuff. Yeah, this is gonna. I'm probably gonna call this Vivid Combat Simulator because it's so real. The combat is spectacular. All right, so now that we have that out of the way, now that we have that way out of, we need to deal with these final values. So I added the damage, and I added elemental damage, which is what we're able to put onto the sword randomly. All that saves. The upgrade forge, I don't know if I made the upgrade forge part yet. Not yet. Oh yeah, I did, yeah. Let's see. Yes. So it will upgrade the sword 5 times, and every time each stat gets a random value between 1 and 3. And then it will save that, so it deletes the sword, recasts the values. Anyways, yeah, and then what it does is just adds the values together. Took me a little bit here to get it. So yeah, it took me a little bit to get it all to sort of function. So the last thing we need to do now, we're finally ready to start the this stuff here. So we're going to keep the healing functions inside the shield. We're going to keep that. And we're going to keep the... I'm just thinking about restoring mana and stamina. If the natural regen I'm just thinking about just a basic spell system. Nothing fantastic, just something really basic, right? So you have your 3 spells. You can heal yourself, you can restore your magic, and you can restore your stamina. Right? You're going to have a natural restore rate. I don't know if that makes... Maybe not. Maybe we'll just have... you can just heal yourself. And that's it. And so that means that the resistances and the elemental resistances are going to be... I guess we could put that into the shield. So what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of... We're only going to have one function in the shield, and that's going to be H. So what I have to do is turn on... I know, I got rid of the prompt. I didn't think I was going to need it, so we can insert object. We'll just reset it up again. And this will say activate. Oh, this is actually going to be perfect. Okay, it's going to say activate shield. So inside the shield, we are going to insert 2 number values. And in our player added script, where are we here? Server, script service, player added. We're going to name one resist damage. And we're going to name one resist element. Resist damage and resist element. So, these are the numbers that we're going to save. And then we're going to load into here. So everything is loaded with the sword. So when the player equips the sword, all the values are going to load. And that's the easiest way to handle. It's just the simplest way to handle all that stuff. Because when you equip the sword, you can fire a function. And we have the name of the player, so we can search for the player. We can do everything we want. It's just a really easy way of handling that. So what we'll have to do is we'll have to search for the shield. So let's see. So in our sword, we'll go into the server where we have the player weapons. So in our sword script, when we equip the sword, oh yeah, what we need to do is we need to say local shield equals scripts .parent find first child shield. Let me see if this is gonna work. No, I don't want. I want this one. Yeah, there we go. I want the keyboard. When I look at the keyboard, that's the one I want. I don't want the French one, because the French one is not the same keyboard. All right, it's weird. So that's the shield, and then we could say let's see if this one. Shield. Is that what it's teleported as? No, it depends on the name, right? The name is Shield Starter. So it wouldn't have found it anyways. All right. Then we could say if shield, then script .parent. Let's see. If shield, then let's see, shield dot, and then we'll say resist damage dot value. Dot value equals let's see, players dot resist damage. I think that's actually right. And then resist element. I think that's actually right. Wow, really? That might actually be correct. That's the first time the AI has ever given me a correct. Usually it gives me correct code, but it's totally unrelated to what I'm doing. Wow, that's cool. Awesome. It's actually getting better. Nice. Yeah, resist element and resist damage. Cool. Okay, so based on probably what I've previously copied and pasted. So it's going to load those two values on the shield to the values that we saved. So how do we set those values? Well, currently they're going to be set to 0, but what I think is we have these shrines, and maybe on this shrine here we take this shield and we move it, we duplicate it, and we put it in the workspace. There we go. Cool. Now, if you find this shrine, okay, this is where where is it here? There we go. So when you find this thing on the map, this is where you're going to find what's going on here? Sticky keys, what's going on here? And then in here, of course, we're going to get rid of that. And then we don't need, I don't know, we don't need any of this kind of stuff. We can get, maybe we'll keep that. Actually, yeah, this is what we'll do. This is what we'll do. And we'll have a different sound for it. Okay, so we don't need that. Now, do we need these two values? I think we do. So what we're going to do, we're gonna make, okay, hear me out on this one. We are going to insert an object. We need a button, and then we need some code for the button. So let's insert a script so we can code this button. All right, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna say local button equals script dot parent dot proximity prop, right? Button dot trigger ended connect function. Now in this case, we can get the player. And what we need to do is we need to connect this to a data save. It's connected to our data save, and we've set up these numbers. I've set up p calls for the numbers to load, and I've given them variables. So now we can take these variables and we can use them as a give damage or whatever, give reward script. Okay, so this one here, we don't need that to be open. We still need that to be open, and that's it. Okay, that's the sword. We'll work on that in a moment. Alright, so now what we need to do is, after the player has activated the prompt, we can say script.parent.resist damage.value equals player. Oh no, we need to say game get service players, and then we need to say find first child player.name, and then we need to say find first child I shouldn't have deleted the sword. Let's see, where is it here? Because it's got that, basically it's got that right here. Except here we need player.name. It's really important that we have that. So what we're going to do is we're just going to test first to see if it loads these values. And they're going to be 0, of course. Dot resist, that's the element. Element, and this will be dot resist. Where is it here? Oh, whoops. No. All right. I think that's how that's going to work. Yeah. I think we can get the player down there. All right, so let's just see if I don't have the shield. Does it fire with the shield, or does it matter? No, it doesn't. So it should actually look to see if I have the shield. So how do we do that? We should say if game get service workspace find first child player.name. Let's see, find first child, and then it's going to be starter shield. Then execute this, else print no shield. Alright, try that. No shield, perfect. And then finally what we'll do is we're going to connect all these values to a overhead UI, either on the player or on the item. We'll figure it out. All right, so okay, now what probably what I should have done here is let's see, we'll take this button and we're not using it right now, and then I should have got this to print. For debugging, right? For debugging, we go on a print just to make sure it actually does the function. There it just did nothing. There we go. Okay, so so now what needs to happen is we need to take these values and we need to create them. So we want to say local damage, and we want to say local elements. All right, equals, and then we'll say math.random. And then what do we want? Maybe between 1 to 5, right? So what we can do, we're going to do two things here. We will limit. Okay, so first, let's just go through this. So what we do is it's a, so it loads the values, right? So it loads the saved values. Then what we want to do is we want to add on to the saved values so maybe we want to say weight, and then we want that value, and we want this value, and then we'll say equals that value plus element, and then this is going to be that value plus this. Plus damage. So first it loads the values, then it adds these values to it, then it's going to save these values. And that is going to equal, and that is going to equal the current, so then we have to wait, because what this does is it allows it to get the values, then it adds these random numbers to the values, to these values here. Then we need to say, these values here now equal the new value. The new value. Is that right? So it sets the value, Then it adds the new value. Then it sets the new value. Okay, so let's see if that works, because we can do that, and it won't save because there's no pcall set up for it to save. So, but we should be able to see that I'm able to change the numbers just with that. And it's going to be resist damage and resist element. But it'll be on the shield. It should be on the shield. I think. I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah, there we go. Ooh, I got a 4 and I got a 2. Okay, so that did work. So it did work. So now that we're able to do that, what we need is we need to be able to, now we need to save the fact that it changed those values. Yeah, we need to save that we've changed those values. So what we need is a save value pcall function, which is here. And we can put that in here. And we just need 2 of them. And one will be data damage. And this will be data damage. It's kind of important to see this sort of stuff. And then the next one will be data element. Data element and data element. Now the value that we want to change, this is the resist damage value. So we'll save that there, and we'll save that there, and then the resist element, we save it there, and there, and then what we also need is the correct variable. So for resistance, put in the correct variable, and for resist element, we put in the correct variable. Now it should give us the numbers, and it should save. So it will say resist damage saved. Now there's going to be all kinds of words that come up on the bottom. So what I'll do is I'll go through afterwards and I'll stop all the hundreds of scripts from printing, because we won't need them to do that anymore. Alright, so with that out of the way, let's see if it works, and if it works, I'll delete that other prompt so I don't get the error from it anymore. Because right now, if I load my resist damage and my resist element is 0. So if I roll, now it's going to save at 3 and 2. Now if I rejoin the game, nice, it's saved. So now the next thing we want to do is we want to give maximum values here. So we want to say if, so we could base it on simply just the damage on the resistance. So we could say, we could copy this and we could say if that value is greater than 15, then no, if it is less than 15. Perfect. And then we can say yeah, we could say something like that. We could say script, or we could say button dot action text equals max resist. There we go. So now we can only get a maximum of 15. So let's try it out and let's see if that works. And it should save every time we activate it. It should save while the player is upgrading their resistances. Oh, no shield. Perfect. Look at that. So it still works. The other function still works. So what we'll do with the other function is instead of printing no shield, we will say button dot action text equals no shield. Oh, it's even better. Then we'll save it. All right, and then now we will play the game. All right, let's see what our resistances are now. Ooh, that was a good one. Ooh, that was another good one. Max resist. Oh, perfect. So there you go. So now it's locked out. Everything is good. Now let's go back in and see if it saved that. So my maximum damage resistance is 15. Yeah, my elemental damage is 11. Cool. So that concept is pretty much what we're going to do for all of our stats. So that handles resistances, so then we have 2 more to handle, which is regeneration and boost, stat boosts. So regeneration comes from the helmet. So, and then of course we need to code in anything that the shrine is going to do once it gives the player their so we'll say shield shrine. All right, and then we'll duplicate this, and this is going to be a helmet shrine. And we'll get rid of the handle. And then we have to create basically a whole new set of code for this. So this here we'll just duplicate and then oh boy, come on. Yeah, and now we're starting to develop some basic props, right? So let's see, and then we have scale. We can look at sort of the scale that we're kind of we're going to be building with. So this has the regen value on it, and then we just need to do the same thing. We can actually take the code that's in here. We can take that and the button. We can copy it. Let's see. We'll put it inside his arm. Paste into, and then we can just edit the script. So that way, instead of the resist damage, it looks for this value here. And maybe the maximum on this is 20, and that's going to be a direct boost to, and then instead of to our thing there. So instead of shield starter, we are going to be looking for hat starter. And then it'll say no hat. All right, and then what we want to do is we want to get rid of one of these, and we can say regen. And then we simply eliminate a line of code all the way down so we don't confuse ourselves. And that way we can edit it line for line, and we will just get rid of one of these. And just like that, it's ready to be simple. It's ready to be solved. Regen. Okay, and then the value that we are looking for is this value here. So, anything that we search the player for is going to be for this value. So that's going to be this line here. And that is going to be this line here. And this line here. All right, and then we want script.parent.resist, I think it is. Insert object, a number value, and we could just call it resist. All right, script.parent.resist.value, resist.value, resist.value. All right, making sure there, and then the last thing we need is the variable on the resist. Which is right here. Oh, this is the regen variable, Oops, that's right. It's called resist, but it's saved as regen. So that's fine. So it's all changed. It's going to do the exact same thing, only it's going to save the regen. Now, where does that matter? Well, in our folder, we have our regeneration script, and in here, the damage is going to be our basic regen, and then we're going to say plus, and we will say we'll take. Oh no, we can't do it here. So what we have to do is we have to tell it to see where it says plus damage. We need to put this in brackets. And we need to say plus and we need to say this here. But instead of game stats, we're looking for character stats. And we are looking for the value, this here. So what it will do is it will take that number and then it should add this to it. So how do we figure that out? Well, the base number is 15, and right now we're going to add 0 to it because our current value is 0. So it should only regenerate at a rate of 15 until we change it. And we'll be changing it through the, one is mana and one is stamina. So we have to do both right now. We have to do both. Oh, no, it'll be the same. One stat works for both. And then the last thing we need is the boost stats. That's going to be our strength and our endurance. Our mana. And our stamina. So we still have to figure out a formula for that. Through the cape. Where, let's see. Let's just test this one out first. The regen. So if you look at our base regen, our stamina is going to go up by 15. Then if I get the helmet, which I have, of course. All right, so now if we look at my regen rate, is 2. So I should be getting 17 when I rejoin the game. I should be getting 17. Yeah, there we go, perfect. So that's how that works. And then we can do one for, the last one is going to be for the cape. And it's going to work exactly the same. We're going to have a single number, which is going to boost our stats. And it's going to boost our strength. And it's going to boost, let's save this first and see what we got. What stats we got to boost. So we have strength, wisdom, and endurance. So we're already going to be able to spend experience to increase these. And that's why I think if we add onto it a cape. Yeah, if we add a cape onto it. Oh, there you go. Then I saved right there. Good, good, good. I think just a blanket boost would be good. And then what we can do, we can, instead of just adding it when it comes to, instead of just adding it, we will multiply it as a booster for health, the health value, a booster for the mana value, right? Because right now, those values are preset. They're preset in the code. And now that we're able to, now finally we're starting to manipulate the player items. So what we need to do is we can now connect those finally to the, all right, replicate storage, to where they need to be. Right, we're going full circle on the stats now. Because right now, mana, its maximum is preset. Well, eventually we're going to change that number. It's going to have a base amount, and then we're going to multiply it by whatever this value is going to be. So that is pretty much going to do it for today's video. Where are we at? Oh yeah, 45 minutes. That's pretty much going to do it for today's video. I think in the next one we will... What do we got to do next? So that's going to do it for player items. Oh yes. We'll build the staff, which is just going to cast magic. And then I think we might actually be ready to... Oh, then we'll need to set up the currencies, the monetary system. So that's going to be in the next one. Thank you so much for watching, liking, and subscribing. You all are very awesome. And I will see you all then. Bye for now.